What is up, guys? It is the Scarlet Duelist back again with yet another deck profile. This one is just an update on a previous profile that I've done because the ban list really messed it up. You're going to see some lines over here, by the way. This is just the shadow of my rig, kind of what I have going on here. I'll show you that real quick. I use a transparent box type thing to do these profiles when I have the real cards. So yeah, that's what you're seeing. If that's distracting, I would say I'm sorry, but I'm really not. If that bothers you, you should leave. But anyway, yeah, so the ban list really, it took away most of the power cards in my previous Red Eyes build. So no more Tomahawk, no more Soul Charge, and those two cards really did make the deck a lot more viable, but we've changed it around and it is a completely different deck, but it's still running Red Eyes. So, hopefully you'll like this. It's very budget friendly. There's only a few cards, I think, in the extra deck that you don't even really have to play because they're not like things you have to get out in order for this deck to work. So it's very budget friendly and it's pretty viable. I don't know really if it's more viable than the last build because, you know, link spam is pretty much what wins now, but I try to stay away from that being something that we depend on. But yeah, you'll kind of see as I explain the cards and go through certain aspects of it, what we're talking about here and what we're dealing with. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started with the new build. I won't intro for much longer here. All right, so let's just keep going. We've got Red Eyes, Black Dragon at 3 still because, you know, he's the OG. He's going to be here. Next, we've got 2 Red Eyes, Black Flare Dragon. These are mostly targets for you to send to the graveyard on your Cards of the Red Stone or with other things using the Danger Hole engine there. Get them in the graveyard and bring them back for free special summons. But you'll see that as we go on. Next, we have 3 Danger Dogman, and I actually have the card this time. So there's 3 Danger Dogman for you. This is here because these are basically 3 upstart goblins that get things that you don't mind being in the graveyard. Because most of your monster cards don't mind at all being in the graveyard because you can either revive them or they search something else because we are comboing Red Eyes with the Phantom Knights, which is a really weird combination, but it works because Dark. Thanks to their new Link monster, it really, really works. So I think you'll really enjoy this. I'm not going to explain these all again because I've explained them in my last profile, not in full detail anyway. The one thing I will say about this, if this is your first time seeing one of my profiles, especially Red Eyes, Danger Dogman is an upstart goblin and a free special summon because of the way it works. So you like your cards in the graveyard, so it's all effects that you really, really want to happen. So you send, hopefully not this, from your hand to the grave, this gets special summoned, and you get a draw card after, but on the off chance that this gets discarded, your opponent's monsters all lose 1,000 attack, which also is pretty helpful if you want to just like mow over what they have without having to affect them with card effects. Because that's a lot of cards' biggest, I guess, difficulties right now, is there are lots of things that can respond to you, but if you just have a monster out and can augment their attack and just mow over them, that might be more beneficial than trying to affect them with card effects. But really, it just totally depends on what you're playing against. So there's those. Next, we have 2 Destrudo because of what we are running after the Red Eyes stuff. Then we've got 2 Phantom Skyblaster and 1 Dark Grepher. Dark Grepher is really good because you have, I believe, a total of what? You've got 3, 6, 8. You've got 10 level 5 or higher dark monsters in your graveyard. So if you have this at the same time as those, you can just pitch those and special summon this. You've still got your normal summon, and then you can combo it off with a Phantom Skyblaster or Destrudo, and just keep your sending or special summoning effects going to bring out the Link 3 Phantom Knights monster, which then searches your Fog Blade, and boom, you just keep going with your plays. So these are very beneficial. Even this at 1 is really good because when you see it, it's never a bad thing. Because you get to send dark monsters to the graveyard with it one way or another, either from your hand or from your deck. So it's really beneficial. And the reason that we run this, by the way, instead of Armageddon Knight is because you actually want to have to discard most of the time, because you want to pitch your Red Eyes and maybe even a Destrudo to the grave, or even your Phantom Knights, but you can't do that with those for that effect. You can do it with the other effect, but yeah, so it's very beneficial, a lot more beneficial than just an Armageddon Knight. All right, next we have our Phantom Knights monsters begin. So we've got over here, let's see, the Phantom Knights of Cloven Helm, the Phantom Knights of Ragged Gloves, and the Phantom Knights of Silent Boots. We've got another one, but this is all we can fit right now. This is at 1 because it's kind of they're all searchable from the deck to the graveyard, and you can use their graveyard effects to then search other Phantom Knights cards and eventually special summon them. If you draw this and this, you can bring out the Phantom Knights of Breaksword, pop a card, and then they revive themselves to use as link material. So that's really nice, or XYZ material. This is also very good for reviving your Fogblade trap card, because we only want to run... Wow, did I even say that right? I don't think I did. It felt wrong, which is why... that's why I made the gibber sound. Anyway, this is very good for reviving your Fogblade, because you only run 1. Nailed it first try. All right, so with this, you're not wanting to draw it. You want to send it, then use its graveyard effect to revive your Fogblade. So that's why we have it at 1. These at 2, because you might think, oh, it's because you bought that set that they came in and they only came with 2, so you're just sticking with 2. Partly that's true, but I really wouldn't up the ratios from that anyway, just for the simple reason that you just want to see them when you see them, or you just want to send them with Rusty and use their bonus effects from the graveyard. They're okay if you want to, if you haven't normal summoned yet, and then you can get out these 2 if you have them both in your hand. But most of the time you're going to be sending to search, and then just keep those effects going. So yeah, that's why they're at 2. It works really well because you want to see them when you see them. That's always my logic for running 2 ofs. A 1 of, my logic there is it's good every time, but with your other cards, so you don't want to just draw only that card. So powerful 1 ofs are in there for that reason, and powerful 2 ofs are in there because they're good, but you don't want to just see them. Next, we've got 2 of the Phantom Knights of Ancient Cloak. Again, these are all doing the Phantom Knights things where they're sent to the graveyard and they can search various objects. And I can go over that at the end of the video, maybe some combos you can do, or at least explain these a little bit better. I'm just trying to get through the profile a little faster for those who already know about these and just want to see what's going on. Our last monster is Eater of Millions. Because it's a free special summon, you can banish anything from anywhere to get it out. And B, it's a good spot removal to have, and you mill this deck enough that you really could run into it just from a hard draw, because you send a lot from this deck to the graveyard and revive things and recur things and just keep going. So yeah, it's really, really powerful as a spot removal that doesn't target or anything like that, and it's just a free summon from cards you may not even use in your extra deck or wherever. So very, very good card. Next, we're using our spells. So we've got 1, the Phantom Knights Rank Up Magic Launch. You'll see why when I show you the extra deck. And the only reason we run 1 is because this is searchable. So there's really no reason for you to have more than 1, because you're only going to use it once. And then you can use its graveyard effect for more recurrence and searching and all that good stuff that the Phantom Knights cards do. Next, we've got 3, Return of the Dragon Lords, just because you're going to find that you have dragons in the graveyard from discarding your Red Eyes monsters and such. And you've also got some dragons in your extra deck, at least 1, that you can revive with this, and it's very useful. It has some synergy with some of our traps that I'll show you in just a moment. Next, we've got Monster Reborn, because Monster Reborn. There's no reason not to be running it, especially in this deck. No soul charge, so you want to kind of get as many of these recovery cards in here as you can still. But the reason I'm not running the recovery traps is because they're just a bit slow, and you want to use all the traps you have to disrupt your opponent. All right, so that's a few of our spells. We got just a few more here. We've got 2 Cards of the Red Stone, because you're running 5 level 7 Red Eyes monsters, so the chances of drawing this and at least one of those at the same time is very high. You get that free pitch and a half No, I'm just kidding. It's just 2 pitches. I don't know why I said pitch and a half. It just sounded funny, but it's just not. I don't know why. It sounded funnier in my head. So you send your level 7 Red Eyes monster from your hand to the grave, draw 2 cards, and then you can send another one. So if you've got recovery in your hand or you draw into it, that's a great way to get those and get those free special summons. Next, we've got 1 Allure, just because you may not have the Red Eyes cards in your hand and you still need some draw power. So, you've got basically 3 Pot of Greeds with costs that aren't that hurtful to you in the deck. So consistency is pretty good in it. I don't have any more draw power cards. You might have noticed that I made that go down just a little bit from the past Red Eyes build just because we have a different goal. But you also do have those other upstart goblins coming from your danger cards, so keep that in mind. It really didn't hurt the consistency to remove slash draw. The reason I removed slash draw is because you kind of would prefer to go first, and if you open on a slash draw going first, you can't do anything with it. It is a dead card in hand, so that's why it was removed. All right, the last couple spell cards are our Send to the Gravy cards. Gravy as in nickname for graveyard, not gravy as in on top of my mashed potatoes. Next, we've got these 3 here, and we've got Foolish Burial. You know what it does. You send 1 monster of your choice to the grave. Dragon Shrine, it's just nice because you get to send 2. And Dragon Ravine for the same reason, 1 from hand and 1 from deck. So between these and a couple of your other cards, you're going to be easily sending the cards you need to the graveyard and comboing off of that. So that's why I kept each of those at 1, just because, again, you don't want to draw only cards that send to the graveyard. Time after time, I've built decks that I think are going to be good, and then I draw every single card that's going to send cards to the graveyard with no way to use them. So that's why we limited what we're sending to the graveyard, or at least how we do that. It's consistent, though. It really is. I've tested it enough. You get them right when you need them. Next, we've got 3 Dragon's Bind, because the chances of you spamming out a Clear Wing, Synchro Dragon, or a Red Eyes are very high. And if you activate this while you have that, your opponent cannot special summon any little guys. So that's pretty useful, because most of the time, like if you look at Salamangrates or a lot of these decks that are coming out now, they have to special summon little guys to go off. So if they can't do that, you might have just won the duel with this soft lock going on. They're going to have to take care of you with something else first before they can even do anything. And by that point, they may have exhausted all of their resources and have to pass, and they give you time to recover and make another move. So Dragon's Bind, very useful in this deck. Next, we have 1 Dark Illusion. This is a free negate for targeting anything. So if you have a dark monster on the field and it gets targeted by a spell, trap, or effect monster, activate this card and it is negated and destroyed. Now, what's really cool is this is a counter trap. So unless they have another counter trap to stop it, they cannot react to it. So if you want to up this because you really like that effect, go for it. I have 1 because it tends to be enough. Because like I said, you don't want to draw a couple of these and then have nothing on your field that's not useful at all. So 1 is great. Next, we have our 3 searchable Phantom Knights traps. And each of these I'll explain a little bit further than I've explained the other cards. We've got 2 here that augment attack, but what you really are looking for is once they go to the graveyard, they get to special summon a Phantom Knights monster from your graveyard. So there's the recursion and recovery that you just get from using these, and they're searchable. So, or you can just straight up send them with other effects that you have in your deck, and you don't even have to activate their original effect, so it speeds them up a little bit. They're traps that aren't as slow as you think. And then you've got the Fog Blade here. This is a searchable negate, guys, so that's why we run it at just 1, because you don't want to, well, I guess if you draw it, it's not that bad, but it's better to get to search it, because that means you've sent some Phantom Knights monsters to the graveyard, and you can banish them and get some bonus effects off of that. And then you can recur this with that 1 of that I showed you in, let me pull that out again just so I can make sure that I'm being clear on what I mean. There's 1 Phantom Knight, the Cloven Helm here. If this is in the graveyard, if this gets sent, which what you'll do is you'll make Rusty, send this, search this, use this, and the next turn you can banish this from your graveyard to get it back. So you at least have a recurring 2 negates here with this. So that's very nice. Plus your other cards that can do some shenanigans that way as well. So it's really cool. This deck is all about stopping your opponent and then going through the next turn. And you can usually outlast them because your resources just keep on happening. There are lots of cool combos you can do. with each of your Phantom Knights cards on top of your Red Eyes cards to kind of stall and stop your opponent, or just go into some of your extra deck here, which I will show you now. So our extra deck has changed a little bit because of that whole ban list thing. You can still make Beauregard Dragon, which is a solid card. If you are a more competitive player and have a better budget than me, definitely put in Boral Load or Boral Sword, because you can make it pretty simply. So yeah, keep that in mind. If you want to up the competitive level of this, you can definitely change out some of these more budget-friendly cards I have. Next, we've got Saryuja, because once again, you can easily make the card. It's just not going to be with tokens using Tomahawk. You can just spam out Dark Monsters instead, or just Dragon Monsters, whatever you want to do, and then you get that special summon and so on. So you've got a lot going on. You can up attack with it. It's still a solid card to be able to make. Next, we've got Rusty, which is our game changer. It really helps this deck thrive because all you need is 2+ Dark Monsters. And if you send your Phantom Knights monster, anyone in your deck, to the graveyard, you can set one Phantom Knight spell or trap directly from your deck to your spell and trap zone. And if a Dark XYZ monster is special summoned to a zone this card points to, except for during the damage step, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. So you can use each effect, by the way, once per turn. So this is not something that just upon summon you get to do it and then that's it. You could even revive this with Monster Reborn after it gets destroyed and then use its effect again if you really want to. So yeah, you've got some recursion there, some really cool stuff going on. Next, we have some of our other links. We've still got Nightmare Cerberus for some spot removal. We've got Proxy Dragon in case you want some protection there. Link Spider because of the Phantom Sky Blaster play. If you want to make Saryuja using your Phantom Sky Blaster, you just play it, get your token, and then go into Link Spider if maybe you did summon 2 tokens, because they need to be different names. So just keep that in mind. That's what Link Spider is there for. Plus you do have Red Eyes monsters if you do want to, for some reason, use those to go into a Link Spider. I don't know why you would, but maybe you've come up with a combo yourself and changed it a little bit and it's better. Who knows? Next, we've got a Big Eye, just because Big Eye can be useful once in a while as a utility card. And then we've got Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon, because it's still a really good card. It's solid. It might be power crept a little, so if you want to take these 2 out and put something else in there that you think would make the deck better, go for it. I still run them, though, just because they're fun. Why not? Next, what else is here? Oh, yeah, we've got Dark Requiem and Dark Rebellion. I know you're thinking, how you making that? Like I showed you, we've got that one searchable rank up Phantom Knights card, right? So here's how you end up making this and this. Here's what happens, guys. If you make... Oh, I haven't shown you this yet. If you make your Phantom Knights of Breaksword, we'll just move these over, with 2 Phantom Knights monsters, which is the only way you can make it, so you're gonna make this, use its effect to destroy a card on your opponent's side of the field. I'll scoot these over. I thought they were in camera a little bit better there, and they were not. But if you use this and you pop it and the card on your opponent's side of the field, this brings back your 2 Phantom Knights cards right back, but they're 1 level higher. So then you make Dark Rebellion, then you can target one of your opponent's monsters, use this effect to make its attack lower, and then go into Dark Requiem with the rank up card that you've already searched. So then you have this, which is a lot like, it's basically the Exceeds version of Crystal Wing, and it's a lot easier to make than putting actual Crystal Wing in here. So you can activate some monster effects with it, and you can do another effect that augments attack just like Dark Rebellion, except I believe it makes its attack 0 instead of making it half, and then it gains attack equal to that monster's original attack. So even if you've halved it with Dark Rebellion, you can still bring out Dark Requiem and gain its original attack. So that's pretty cool. You can mow over some stuff, negate some stuff. Yeah, it's a very useful card. So yeah, those are some pretty cool plays you can do, comboing with the Phantom Knights. And let's see what's left. Oh, we've got our 3 synchros. Because we are running Destrudo, usually we're going to use him as link material to bring out Rusty, but on the off chance that that's not going to happen, you can make a Clear Wing and combo that with Dragon's Bind, plus you have its negates. You can make a Dawn you can make a Dawn Dragster, and you've got some free spell and trap negation there, or you can make Psyframe Lord Zeta, which is going to banish itself from the extra monster zone, which is very helpful, and banish an opponent's monster until the next turn. So still, I mean, it's an underrated card. It's not as good as Omega because it's not ripping from the hand, but they might have just summoned, a valuable piece that they're thinking they're going to use, and then you use Zeta and then banish it. So very cool. Remember, though, that this does have to target. So if their monster cannot be targeted, not going to work. So you usually want to use this on the card that they're going to use to turbo into their big thing. You don't want to wait till they get to their end goal and then try to use this, because often, guys, in today's game, their end goal is going to find some way to either react to this or negate it. So try to use this at the right time, and it can be a very useful utility card, especially if you kind of had to just Destrudo and pass. This is a really good option, but so are these. Really depends on the situation. But yeah, that's really it. And then I'll go over the side deck just because I like to show you what I'm packing to throw off my opponent. Now, the way that I side deck is different than a lot of people. Yes, I anticipate some things, but I have side decked entirely just to throw off my opponent because fun. Because the chances of this deck going to an event like a YCS are very slim, guys. That's just, unfortunately, it's just been power crept at this point. So until some more support comes out, that's just the way it is. But yeah, I've actually just got the fusions in the side deck. So you could pack those in and throw your opponent totally off and play more of just a straight up Red Eyes fusion build. It'll be slow, but they won't be expecting it. And you could even, I don't have it in here, you could even play this and pack in Summon Limit. And then you have your big guys, maybe this with a negation, and then you can kind of stall them that way. But yeah, so those are there. If you want to change the side deck, definitely go for it. This is just kind of in here for fun, just showing you. Then I've got the 3 fusion targets in the side deck, obviously, because you can't use the fusions without the targets. And we've got the Red Eyes Insight here, so that we can search Red Eyes Fusion, Serial Spell with the Inferno Fire Blast just for that FTK engine, just in case, because it's pretty good that you could, there's a good chance that you could run into it and just win that way. And then we've got our 3 Red Eyes Fusion. So that's a good way to throw off your opponent. Pack in the fusions because they don't think you're running them. And then just mow over stuff, because you can sometimes win a duel with the Red Eyes Zombie Skull thing. What's that called? Archfiend Black Skull Dragon. Red Eyes Zombie Skull is the synchro. Yeah, you can potentially win duels by side decking just this in with Red Eyes Fusion, because they can't activate anything during the battle phase. And if they're not prepared for that, yeah, they can definitely lose to that, guys. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the deck. Before I go, I'll just explain one thing. The reason that I have not used the guard dragons, because that might show up in the comments. I have researched the guard dragons, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but so far, everything that I've seen using the guard dragons relies on the hieratic link or needle fiber for needle fiber. What? Needle fiber for Red Eyes. So we don't have either of those cards yet, so there's no reason to build a profile with them. And also, when they do come out, guys, I think they're going to be so abused that I think they're going to get something hit on the ban list, if not their own archetype itself. So I'm kind of steering clear of that for now, because it's not reliable for Red Eyes right now. And when it is, it's probably going to be just for some more link spam, to be honest with you, because they're probably going to use it to bring out Red Eyes Darkness Metal, and then do all the recursion effects to go into extra linking. And that's just not my play style. And it's probably going to get Red MD hit, to be honest with you. So yeah, if I were you, I would just steer clear from it for now. There might be some better plays when Red Eyes Alternative comes out and stuff like that. It might be a little bit faster, but as of right now, this is the best thing that I've found to be able to work with Red Eyes and make it actually playable. If I gave it a tier from my own tier system, I would say this is probably top tier casual and could steal some wins out of regional, but it's probably not going to make it to one of the bigger events and actually win, just because it's been power crept, guys. We just got to be real with ourselves. This is the best, most competitive build that I could come up with right now for Red Eyes, but it's definitely not the most competitive deck you will run into. So competitive players, take everything I've said today with a grain of salt. I am very aware of the fact that this is not going to beat something like Sky Strikers or other things, because they can just kind of spot removal me very quickly. And casual players, yeah, you could do very well with this, I think, and depending on what you run into. And then kind of those like me that are in between, you can kind of tweak the skeleton that I've made to make it more or less competitive or consistent, and it'd be a really fun deck to play either way. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, guys. If you did, give the video a like, subscribe, maybe share it with some friends that are interested in playing Red Eyes, and yeah, thanks for watching. See ya!